Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar, Mobilizing Your Geo Dashboards with CMaps Analytics. My name is Ryan Goodman and I'm the founder of Senegon Solutions. And I'm here to deliver this webinar today to share some of the latest and greatest capabilities that we've recently introduced with our CMaps plugin 4.1 for SAP Business Objects Dashboards. And what I wanted to do was kind of reintroduce CMaps Analytics to you and then talk in depth about how you can take your existing dashboard designs, repurpose them, and then deliver them to the iPad through SAP Business Objects. Now, for those of you who are not as familiar with Senegon Solutions or the CMaps Analytics toolset, essentially what we've done is we've taken the consumer mapping experiences like Google and TomTom, and we've layered on top of that consumer maps experience a rich location analytics experience. So for business users, you can access your territories, your regions, assets, buildings, people, anything that you would want to understand the geographic relationships and business relationships together. We can layer that information on top of a map. So business users love it because you have not only that simplicity of the consumer experience, but also you have that nested inside of existing business objects tools like dashboards. From an IT and implementation standpoint, we've had tremendous success with CMaps Analytics, which was formerly known as GMaps plugin, and that success is due to the simplicity and lack of resistance for creating and integrating maps. Excuse me. So with CMaps Analytics and CMaps plugin, we look at the map as a blank canvas, and that blank canvas can have painted on top of it any combination of location assets or geography. So as I mentioned before, we can render regions and territories and assets and have that directly integrated throughout the dashboard experience. So the map becomes immersive inside of the dashboard as opposed to being an isolated component. And so for anybody who wants to get inspiration for your dashboard projects, you can certainly go to our website and look at the demos that we have so you can interact with them. So as we get to mobility and creating this next generation of location analytics for BI, kind of a natural evolution from where we started all the way back in 2009 was taking a Google map and putting some points on it and changing the color, which is where a lot of, frankly, a lot of vendors are just starting. A lot of the out-of-the-box solutions that we see in the BI marketplace are just getting out of the starting blocks for what they call location analytics. We're on our fourth generation of visualization and dashboards when it comes to location analytics. So what we've done is not just plot points on top of a Google map. We've built a comprehensive SDK for both Adobe Flash and now for HTML5. And that SDK then uses third-party map services like Google and TomTom today, and soon even additional map service providers, so that we can make sure that we're providing the most value to customers through investments they've already made. And so what you'll see today through mobile is really the ability to address three common use cases that we've seen over and over and over again. We have hundreds of customers, thousands of users who interact with our CMaps Analytics every single day. And when we talk to customers and when we work with them to get feedback over the kinds of applications they're building, the kind of information that they want to consume and understand when related to geography, these are the three scenarios that we hit every single time. So combining business data with geography obviously is what location analytics and location intelligence strives to do. So we obviously have that base covered. On-demand access to assets and performance of those assets anywhere you go is really where we've filled in now with mobile integration. So before, we were reliant really on the browser and the desktop tools to deliver location intelligence. And so what you'll see in a moment is how we've transformed the CMaps plugin into a mobile mapping tool inside of Business Objects. And probably the most important thing in deploying location analytics is trying to help diagnose what's going on or diagnose the problem on the mobile device. Typically with the mobile apps that we've seen built, they kind of fall into two categories. One is simply repurposing the dashboard on the desktop and pushing that to mobile device, which from what we've seen has mixed success rates. But really what a user while on the road is looking to do is to quickly get in, diagnose where the problem is, reference information that they need on hand for whatever their job task is, and close the iPad and be on their way. And that really plays into some of the new features that we've put into CMaps Analytics. So from a desktop standpoint, this is what a typical dashboard looks like. We have the ability to display a map, be able to zoom and pan, interact with various assets on the map. So if I want to select one or multiple locations, I can then see within a specific geography which deliveries are delinquent. Now, if we were to take this to the iPad, however, and I'm going to flip over real quick and go to my iPad. So I'm inside of SAP Business Objects mobile, so the actual mobile app. And so I can actually go in, publish the existing dashboard that I've already built into the BI mobile app, and then that dashboard is queued up and loaded up, and then we can actually access that. Hopefully my session didn't expire, which may be the case here. So theoretically, when this dashboard loads up, oh cool, my session didn't expire. Now we can see the similar kind of experience, but one that's been somewhat tuned specifically so that we can use this on the iPad and it fills up the screen and looks real nice. And now I can use the same kind of pinch zoom experience that I already know and use when I use a map to find directions or find restaurants or whatever. We provide that same kind of Google Maps experience, but really tailored to the dashboards, right? So I can select locations and have that automatically select in the map. So yeah, that will lead us to some further discussion around about that fine-tuning process for mobile and some of the considerations when porting dashboards over. So let me go back real quick to my presentation. So when deploying, there we go. So in deploying these dashboards to mobile device, we are basically converting your dashboards to HTML5. Now, this is completely seamless to you as a dashboard developer or as an organization who's deploying this content. So the idea is inside of SAP Business Objects dashboards, excuse me, you can take your existing dashboard designs, you can save those directly to the BI 4.1 platform, and then those same dashboards are accessible via mobile device. So the translation of HTML5 is actually carried out by SAP Business Objects dashboards. And so we have created a HTML5 equivalent of our existing mapping capabilities and embedded that inside of the component. So for customers and developers, this process is seamless. We also use Google Maps for our mobile dashboards. We have a very long history of developing Google Maps based analytics, and so for mobile, moving forward, any of our HTML5 capabilities will be within Google Maps. Once again, with CMaps Analytics, one of the benefits is the simplicity of development and deployment. So in order to take advantage of the mobile publishing capabilities, all you need to do is install a new add-on component. There's no server install required. There's no GIS server requirement. There's no server configuration required. As long as you have SAP Business Objects 4.1 and the mobile app and the dashboard technology, for which you've already likely invested in, then you can just install the new plugin and get rocking and rolling building map capabilities. It does require a newer version of our plugin, so for existing customers, or if you download a trial off of our website, you will need to request the HTML5 compatible component. So you can take your dashboards, install the new component, and then be able to publish to mobile device. So a little bit more about how this works. So as I mentioned, we have this really nice point-and-click property sheet that allows you to really build or rapidly build your dashboard and mapping experience together. So you can literally drag and drop the map component into your canvas, assemble the layers, link that up to your business objects data or your BI data, and then use some new mobile properties and then deploy to the mobile device. So it really is pretty simple. We actually have, as I mentioned, two SDKs that we have integrated into one product. We have our CMaps Analytics Flash SDK, which uses TomTom base map layers, and that allows you to publish to your portal or business objects environments, or really any HTML-based environment that you access on the desktop. Obviously, Flash doesn't work on mobile devices, so that's where our HTML5 capabilities come into play and are seamlessly accessed. And so once again, that uses Google Maps. So you install, you build, you deploy, and then your business users can instantly access this content without any additional configuration. So as I mentioned before, within CMaps Analytics, the goal is to retain the simplicity and ease of deployment. So there's no server install. You install the component. That's all that's required. Security-wise, we are piggybacking on the Business Objects platform. So SAP Business Objects Enterprise 4.1. So when you deploy to mobile device, it works the same way. We're nested inside of the SAP Business Objects BI app. So the content and security that you deploy, regardless of how you have your mobile app set up from a security standpoint, whether it be mobile VPN, whether it be your reverse proxy, or however you have your mobile app and security set up, we basically just piggyback on that. From a map security standpoint, everything works the same. None of the data rendered on top of the map actually goes to Google or TomTom. So everything is rendered locally, and with that, that includes all of the data points. So one of the considerations for shape data or custom boundaries, as covered on some of our best practices documents, because we don't require a server install, we're directly accessing territories. So there are some security things that or considerations that you'll have to consider if you're using other sources like Esri shapefiles or CSV data, but that's for a more technical session. And leading to that, from a technology and support standpoint, we now have a formalized path to really master not only building maps and building location intelligence, but also learning about the subject matter. So a big part of our success is making resources available so that you can create content, but also learn how to work with business users to gather requirements, to set expectations, and really have success in deploying these mobile analytics. And so we urge you to visit senegaknowledge.com to take a look. And certainly there's a ton of resources that we're putting up there around mobile deployment. We also recently just recorded a technical session around exactly how to take your existing dashboards and repurpose them for mobile, and some of the considerations for that. And so just to touch on that, because I saw a couple questions already in the queue asking about some of the what's required, or what should we look at doing. One of them is one of the practices that we preach on the portal is to really rethink and relook at what the intent is for your business users when it comes to mobile device. So while technology-wise, SAP has supported a lot of the charts and controls and capabilities of the dashboard on mobile device, and at Senegon Solutions, we have built in and now support 95% of what you can do on the dashboard on the browser now in mobile. There are performance and battery life considerations for mobile device, and furthermore, there's even some additional restrictions in how much content you can cram into the mobile app before you consume all the memory. So there really is some real thought that has to go into building and purposing your mapping capabilities, and frankly your entire dashboard when you push it to mobile, to the mobile device. And so that's really where the knowledge and education paths come in, and certainly where our experience comes into play as you're looking to mobilize your dashboards and certainly take your mapping capabilities there too. So once again, we certainly urge you to go to the Senegon Knowledge portal and learn a little bit more about what you can do there. So, to touch a little bit more on the future of CMaps Analytics, and then I'll also go back and kind of show you a few more examples via mobile device. I know I kind of only showed you one working example, so I wanted to illustrate some of the other things that you can do that are pretty neat. So to cover that, to cover future direction and where we're going with CMaps Analytics, so now that we have our kind of out-of-the-box mobile capability with SAP Business Objects, we've been working diligently over the last 6 months on the next version of CMaps plugin and CMaps Analytics. A big part of that is adding additional data connectivity out of the box to some cloud data sources, things like Twitter and Salesforce. So expanding our integrations for our mobile app and our mobile platform to Oracle and SAP HANA and other direct data connectivity options will soon get baked into not only the plugin but also the mobile app. So for us, we're working on this convergence of tools and technologies so that a customer who invests in the CMaps Analytics platform has flexibility in where they deploy their location intelligence. You can deploy it in certainly in Excelsius or SAP Mobile BI, or soon other tools like Web Intelligence or Design Studio, and then you'll be able to take advantage of all these new innovations, like, as I mentioned, indoor analytics. So the ability to go not only from region and territory down to a specific location, but then to be able to go indoors and look at specific performance criteria, traffic patterns, and other overlay data on top of your indoor maps. So that's a big part of where we're going forward, and something that we actually demonstrated at last year's ASUG conference. So there's a lot more information coming down the pipe on that. What I wanted to do real quick, because I know we have a little bit more time. Generally, these sessions, we aim for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for Q&A. So let me flip back over real quick so that I can show you a couple more quick examples here of mobile. So what we're looking at here is our iPad, and so let me open up another example here. Once again, hopefully my okay. So of course, let's go into another example here. So while this is loading up, I want to talk about a couple of additional features that we've added. So one thing you notice here is that the app will ask you for permission to get your location. So what you can actually do with that location data excuse me, is get your current location. You can bind your current location into your dashboard, and then you can use your current location to help drive your analysis, or even pan and zoom the map to your current location. Furthermore, we also offer a feature called reverse geocoding. So you could take your current location, and the map can automatically fetch your current, where you stand, your city, your state, your address, obviously the lat long, and even your zip code. So if you wanted to use any of that dimension data to automatically filter and query back pertinent data according to your current location, that's a property built in right out of the box that you can take advantage of. Furthermore, we also offer directions for mobile. So from your spreadsheet, you can put an origin and a destination location, and the map component itself will then overlay directions. Now, frankly, if you're using directions or turn by turn, you're going to go into the standard navigation app. But we figured that if you did want to happen to use directions or provide that at least you have that built in to the dashboard, so you don't have to go outside of the dashboard. Excuse me. And then obviously you have control to override the different map styles for Google Maps right out of the property sheet. Other than that, it really does behave kind of like your standard CMaps Analytics component. You have access to all of the same properties and capabilities. You still have that bidirectional integration so that you can have your map drive the analysis. So if I select a location on the map, it will certainly drive the chart and drive the selector. Or if I go to a specific place, let's say I want to go to Texas, it will then select Texas in the map and drive the analysis in your dashboard. So all of the properties and capabilities that we have built into the browser and desktop tool, we've expanded into the mobile device. Now, the examples that I have been showing you have been extremely simple. And once again, as I mentioned before, from a technology and an execution standpoint, simplicity is the key for success in deploying to mobile. As the mobile devices get more powerful, as more capabilities get baked in to our tools, so does the overhead for doing so. So, as I mentioned, we have a growing list of best practices so that as you're building dashboards and integrating maps, and you want to optimize those map experiences, you can certainly do so. Just because we've seen enough dashboards over the years using SAP Dashboards that can be extremely sophisticated and complex. So in deploying mobile and looking at mobility, you'll certainly want to simplify those designs, similar to the kind of stuff that you have here. One of the features that we also support, if you are happening to use a GIS system that you want to expose to your mobile users, is we do support things like WMS, so that if you have a more complex visualization that you want to be able to access on the road, you certainly have access to that, and this can come directly from an existing Esri setup, or really any GIS server for that matter. Let's see if there's anything else here. We'll go to reverse geocode. Just scrolling through here to see what other capabilities we have here. So yeah, I mean, that pretty much covers it. I want to show you guys a couple of examples of what the maps look like via mobile device. We certainly invite you to come to our website, download a trial for free. You can start building your maps, and then you just work with our sales team, and we'll get you the correct build, and you can then start publishing the mobile. And from there, we're happy to help you with any best practices or any porting over any capabilities that you need. So with that, we certainly, as I mentioned before, invite you to our website, cmapsanalytics.com. You can come to any one of our social network sites. You can go to our Guru site to get free resources, and we're certainly happy to help you with any dashboarding and location analytics features that you need. So with that, let's go ahead and open it up for Q&A here. So as inside of the website, there's a chat now, and let's see if we have a couple questions here that we can answer live. So we had a question about what are the minimum requirements for using mobile capability. And so, as I mentioned before, the minimum requirements is BI 4.1. So SAP introduced mobile dashboard publishing with BI 4 Service Pack 4. And so with the latest 4.1 release, they introduced the HTML5 SDKs, which we use to directly integrate our HTML5 based component inside of the mobile app. You'll also require a newer version of the mobile app. I don't know off the cuff which version, but yeah, one of the mobile apps you can use. Let's see. Also, from a dashboard standpoint, I'm sorry, I was just looking it up. You need the BI 4.1 version of SAP Dashboards. So if you use that version, then you can publish. If you're using an earlier version of SAP Business Objects, you will not, even if you install the component, you will not be able to preview. See, we had another question. Can I preview mobile? So yeah. So the question was, can we preview our mobile dashboard inside of SAP Dashboards? So the answer is yes, absolutely. Within the SAP Dashboards technology, you have an ability to preview what the dashboard will look like as if it were on the mobile device. You can absolutely use CMaps Analytics in that way. The HTML5 map will render in preview mode so that you can click around. Some of the touch-based capabilities will not work, but generally you can test everything on device and on your desktop. However, the recommended best practice though is to test on your iPad often because the experience and performance and overhead of the mobile app is different than the desktop. So some of the more complex dashboards that would work on the desktop and even in HTML5 preview could be problematic on the mobile device. So you need to make sure that, especially with maps and mobile, you'll want to make sure that you publish to the mobile device and publish often to make sure that you're working okay. So let's see, what other questions do we have here? So we had, sorry, I'm reading through some of the chats here. So one of the other, excuse me, one of the other questions that we had that I actually mentioned is accessing the plugin. So yeah, so essentially to get the XLX plugin component, you can just work with our sales team and we can send you the XLX. Obviously, we'll qualify to make sure you're running the correct versions before, so you don't pull your hair out trying to install the mobile version in a non-compatible version. Let's see, we had another question around polygons. Can we draw polygons? Yeah, so I showed you guys some of the examples in the latter part of the presentation that yes, we absolutely support shapefile rendering. So you can render your custom regions, states, and so on the same way on the mobile device that you would on the desktop. So that works the same, as well as alerts and everything else. In fact, very few of the features in the plugin for the desktop won't work on mobile. I think there's only about 4 or 5 properties that are more for desktop that we don't support. So you're pretty much covered there. You know, if you have experience building on the desktop to use that on mobile. Let's see, what other questions do we have here? So we had questions around pricing and licensing. So that would certainly go through our sales team to find out about the pricing and licensing for CMaps Analytics and mobile. We have an existing customer, you know, who is excited about these new capabilities and wanted to know if as an existing customer, if you have access to mobile. So I know all of our CMaps Analytics customers get access to mobile. So our existing GMaps plugin customers, depending on when GMaps plugin was purchased, would dictate what you get for mobile, and you know what is grandfathered in. I would urge you to check with our sales team to make sure that that you have access and that you can upgrade. So we had another question around performance, you know, fine-tuning performance. So there is a best practice on our Senegon knowledge page around performance tuning for CMaps Analytics. So basically getting the most out of your map and making sure that you're using best practices. We are publishing a mobile dashboard and mobile location analytics performance best practice doc. It's not up yet, but it should be up this week, so that those of you who are already using CMaps Analytics can figure out how to tune your dashboards to be a little bit more mobile friendly. And also for new users, you can start right off the bat using some of the best practices and newer capabilities that we put in to make sure you have good performance. So we had a question around not using Google, using other map services. So for mobile, really HTML5 at this stage, Google is the go forward technology. We're always evaluating the marketplace. The nice thing about our HTML5 SDK is we are technically agnostic, though we've made a strategic and technology decision to continue to use Google for our HTML5 mapping capabilities. And so, we're always looking at new emerging vendors in the mapping space. Obviously, we're always looking at existing leaders in mapping and seeing if there's ways to integrate and use those services. But for us, it's always on the what provides the best experience for our customers, and what at this stage Google is hands down from a mapping standpoint on mobile and HTML5 the best base map experience. But certainly there's other options out there that we're always exploring. So for this version at least, it is Google Maps, and will continue to be so for a long time to come. We won't make a switch, we would just add additional options. So hopefully that covers that. Actually, a great question. We had a question that asked, what is the difference between our mobile app and the mobile integration for SAP? Excuse me, I'm starting to lose my voice. The difference is the mobile app is a standalone platform that we built. We started building in 2012, and we've been slowly evolving for customers to use independent of SAP Dashboards and independent of SAP completely. We have really thousands of users who are using the mobile app right now, even just to connect directly to Google without business objects. And so that's a mobile app that also happens to have direct connectivity to business objects. It has its own JDBC connectivity panel, so if you want to build direct connections to a database, you can do so. And user management, device management. It has all that stuff kind of baked in as its own platform. And so the mobile app you can use standalone, where the mobile integration is used specifically for use with dashboards and the SAP mobile app. So you can use our mobile app and the CMaps Analytics plugin side by side on your iPad, but right now they are two different tools, platforms that now share a common map foundation. So the plugin, the core HTML5 plugin that we used for SAP Dashboards is used in the standalone mobile app. In fact, we've upgraded that our HTML5 SDK and are in the process of using all the new innovation and capabilities that we did to optimize it for Excelsius. We're now putting that back in the mobile app. So we basically have one core mapping capability that we are now spreading throughout all of our tools. But hopefully that answers your question that we have our own mobile app. It's called CMaps Analytics. You can get it on the App Store on your iPad. So that is independent of the mobile integration. And at some point we will we'll post something to clearly define that on the website, though we do have them isolated from each other right now if you were to go to our website. Okay, and I think that covers us for Q&A. So the Q&A will be also recorded live and available for anyone who visits. So with that, before I lose my voice completely, I want to thank everyone who joined us today again, and everyone who's certainly viewing this as a recording. We look forward to fostering discussions with you around location analytics, and certainly we will be doing another one of these webinars soon with some of the new capabilities we discussed on the webinar. So with that, I wish you well, and thank you again for joining.